replacing Pax Americana, we know we are in Akhirul Zaman, and very soon, Dajjal is going to appear in person, ruling the world from Jerusalem and declaring that I am the Messiah. However, this is not the end of history. The Jews will say this is the end of history. And history is ending with a spectacular validation of the Jewish claim to truth. 25 years from now. The Christians are going to wake up and rub their eyes, the ones who are deceived by Europe, and they say, but wait a minute, this fellow there in Jerusalem who says he's the Messiah, boy, he is not the son of Mary. Huh? The Messiah who is to come back is the son of Mary. This fellow is not the son of Mary. This is not Jesus. It seems as though we were taken for a ride. Are we telling them that now if they're listening to the lecture? You've been taken for a ride. This is not the Messiah. This is Dajjal, the false Messiah. And this is not the end of history. The Jews are celebrating, but this is not the end of history. History will now end when the true Messiah comes back. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said that he will come down from the sky with his hands resting on the wings of two angels. He's going to come down in a masjid in Damascus. And I had some problems with this hadith, I have to confess. I said, why Damascus? He went up in Jerusalem, so why is he coming back in Damascus? You know how I like to ask questions. So I lived with this problem for some time until I realized, oh wait a minute. The first time he came, Allah raised a man, Yahya alayhi salam, John the Baptist. And it was Yahya alayhi salam, John the Baptist, who pointed and said, here he is. This is the man you've been waiting for. This is the Messiah. Positive identification. And so when he's to come back, he comes back again where John the Baptist is, because his head is buried in Damascus, in Masjid al-Umawi. So now I realize why he has to come back to Damascus and not to Jerusalem. When he comes back, he's going to kill Dajjal. And after he kills Dajjal, then Allah will send فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ. Allah will send. It does not say Allah will release. No. It does not say that Allah will release. No. It says that Allah will send Gog and Magog. And then comes the big conflict between Gog and Magog. وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ, which includes Star Wars. We've killed those who are on earth, now let us kill those who are in the heavens above. And they'll shoot their arrows up in the sky, and Allah will cause the arrows to come back down. These arrows are of course missiles with blood on them. Gog and Magog mutually annihilate each other. And then the power of modern Western civilization is broken. And Israel is now defenseless. I hope Israel is listening. Israel is now defenseless. It is then that the Muslim army will come out of Khorasan. and liberate every territory in a straight line until it reaches Jerusalem. There is no war to fight because the Jews are now on the run. At this time they're stamping their feet as oppressors and oppressing innocent people unjustly. Barbaric oppression. But at that time they go be on the run. Because Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam says history will end this way. Of course, Harun Yahya is lying. I don't know why Harun Yahya has to lie. Why does Harun Yahya have to lie? It's not a good thing to lie. Imran Hussein doesn't use this kind of language. No. There must be a very good, valid reason for him to speak like this publicly and use this violent language. Okay? To tell us that when Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, the Quran says that the Jews and the Christians will believe in him. La yu'minanna bihi qabla mawti. And the Muslims already believe in him. So history is going to end according to Yahya, Harun Yahya. History is going to end with Christians and Muslims and Jews living together as a family. And since that is the way history is going to end, why don't you live like that now? In other words, why don't you embrace Israel? Looks to me as though the Israeli Mossad scripted that. It looks to me like that. I hope they're listening. That's false, Harun Yahya. Let us tell you the truth, Harun Yahya. Whoever you are, Harun Yahya, hiding behind a pen name. Islamic scholarship doesn't hide behind any pen names. In Islam, when you publish something, you give your name, so you can be held accountable for what you say or what you write. We don't hide behind pen names, not in Islam. When Pharaoh was drowning, he suddenly realized that he was not God, because he's dying. And then he declared his faith in the God of Banu Israel. But Allah responded and said, Halan, وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ قَبْلُ. Now, Pharaoh, and before this you were in obstinate rejection, وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, and you were committing fasad, you were oppressing the people. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ. This day we have decided to preserve your physical body. لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. That your physical body, when it is rediscovered, would function as a sign for a people to come after you. Would function as a sign for a people to come after you. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. But most people are too busy, so much traffic in KL, too busy to ponder and reflect over the signs of Allah. The body of Pharaoh was discovered. I think it was 1897, somewhere around there, but in the same year that the Zionist movement was established. The link is there. Who are the people to come after you, and what is the warning for them? What is the sign? The sign is this: that there are a people to come after you who will live the way you lived, and who will die the way you died. Meaning, at the last moment, when Nabi Isa alayhi salam arrives, now the veils are removed from their eyes, and they cannot anymore reject him as the Messiah. Now they are forced to accept him. But acceptance and belief at this time for Pharaoh did no good to him, into the hellfire. And acceptance when Nabi Isa alayhi salam comes back will do no good to them, into the hellfire. So this is a lie from Harun Yahya, that we'll all come together, Christians, Muslims and Jews, as a fraternity. Oh yes, there are Christians who denounce Israel, And there are Jews who denounce Israel and its oppression. Those Christians and those Jews are our friends and allies. We have no conflict with them. They are not oppressors. But these are oppressors. And Nabi Muhammad ﷺ told us how it will end. Not a Christian, Muslim, Jewish fraternity according to Harun Yahya. No. Someone should direct Harun Yahya to the hadith, which is in Sahih Bukhari. Somehow or the other, he hasn't read the hadith. The Prophet said, لَتُقَاتِلُنَّ الْيَهُودِ. This hadith is in Bukhari, it is in Muslim. You will most certainly fight the Jews. This is how history will end. وَلَتَقْتُلُنَّهُمْ. And you will most certainly defeat them. حَتَّى يَقُولُ الْحَجَرُ. At that time even the stones will speak. Ya Muslim, هَذَا يَهُودِيٌّ وَرَائِي فَتَعَالَ فَقْتُلْ. There's a Jew hiding behind me, so come and kill him. Which Jew? Don't make the mistake, please, of thinking it's all Jews. That's Disneyland thinking. No, only those Jews who are oppressors. And that is what Israel is today, an oppressor. And so history will end quite differently from Harun Yahya's end of history. He had to write I don't know how many thousand books. And he had to produce I don't know how many thousand documentaries in every single Islamic cable channel in the world in order to be able to infiltrate us with this falsehood. And we only needed 5 minutes. Only needed 5 minutes to expose this utter lie. And so history ends with the destruction of the state of Israel, the impostor, with the destruction of Dajjal and of Gog and Magog, the liberation of the Holy Land. And now the truth is triumphant. And the truth which came from Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, which came in the Quran, that truth is validated. That truth is validated. And therefore, Akhirul Zaman ends with truth triumphant in Jerusalem. But the Christians were saying the same thing. And the Jews were saying the same thing. And the Muslims are saying the same thing. Except that it's not the same thing. The truth which came in the Quran is the uncorrupted truth. And you have corrupted the message which came in previous revelations. And so it is to the Quran that mankind must turn. Only the Quran can explain the end of history. We pray that our gathering here tonight will understand that we have a duty to the Quran, that we must not betray the Quran. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam complained, and the complaint is in the Quran. Do you know that? And he complained to Allah, and he complained about you and I. It is in Surah Al-Furqan. وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. My people have forsaken this Quran. We will be falling in that category if we do not now return to the Quran and get the Quran to explain to us the world in which we are living today. You can begin that process by reciting the Quran constantly, cover to cover. And when you finish, you start again. And when you finish, you start again. Because you know what happens when you recite the Quran constantly? Do you know how much filth gets into the mind? It's constantly being corrupted, filth after filth coming